working as a major gifts coordinator. So essentially just trying to get like donors in and get them to volunteer, help us like monetarily. Yeah, man.
You have some time to listen to the podcast and doing that?
Oh yeah.
Or is that a pretty fast paced job?
No, man. It's a lot of ups and it's a lot of downs. There's sometimes I'll be busy for like 2 weeks straight, and then there's 2 weeks where I'm trying to find something to do. So
yeah,
yeah, man.
Did you are you gonna help out with Sacred Hoops at all this summer?
I don't think I'm gonna coach much on the circuit. I've been planning to go back and help in practice at least, but no, I'm not gonna have my own team this time.
That's what I told Ted. I was like, in Sioux Falls just this last week. He's like, "You gonna help out?" I'm like, "Bro, I would, but I will. We got to work out some type of pay though. I can't be coming out here for free. You know, that's a trip."
Yeah, he'll show some type of love to you.
Yeah,
man. Just tell him. Be honest.
He did. That's what I did the other day or today. I'm actually talking to him, trying to work out a deal because I worked a deal out with my boss that if I just work through lunch and bank up all those hours, then like I'll leave early on Friday on the weeks that I'm going. Like I'm not going this weekend to Sioux City, but next weekend I'm gonna go to Omaha with them and see how that plays out.
Yeah, I might have to touch base in Omaha too, man. You know, I went to school in Nebraska for a little bit. Omaha is nice.
Yeah.
Where'd you go in Nebraska?
I went to Wayne State. Yeah, that was the first college I started off with.
Yeah.
NSIC.
Yes, sir. That's a good league.
Yeah, for sure.
Where at in Nebraska is that?
It's in Wayne, Nebraska, bro. It's super small town.
Surrounded
like how
by
Spearfish is a
cornfields.
small town. It's like smaller than Spearfish, bro. Yeah.
That's where my dad played baseball in college.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I think it was NAI back then. I'm not sure what it was, but yeah, I remember when you told me that, I was like, oh yeah, that's where my dad went.
Yeah.
But Wayne's pretty good now. How were they when you first went there?
We would always make the playoffs. Well, I was there 1 year, but just hearing from the players that was there while I was there, they would go on like this end of the season just run where they would win like 7 out of 8 games and make the playoffs. It'd be crazy.
Yeah, man. That's being at Minot State in that league. It was like a completely different look than the RMAC. You know, like you obviously have a taste of both of those leagues, too. You know, and so like every night in the NSIC, you're seeing a big old bruiser. You know, like a big 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" dude that's just a monster.
Yeah.
And I feel like the only teams you really see that in the RMAC with are like, you know, Mines will have one. Fort Lewis had those two big dudes, you know, but you don't see that all the time at the RMAC level.
Man, Tate, this whole time I thought you was a Colorado guy, bro. I had to do a little of my homework before I jumped on. Like,
oh, originally you thought I was from Colorado?
This whole time I thought you was a Colorado kid, man.
I'm in Colorado now, but no, I'm from the good old YO like Bush.
Okay. Didn't your parents move like right when you went to school or something like that?
Yeah, no, they moved right before I went up to Black Hills. Between my sophomore and junior year, they moved down to Lakewood. So Colorado's been home since then, but no, I'm a Wyoming boy at heart. Not the G-Town, thankfully.
Myles knows what G-Town is, man. There ain't nothing.
I know he does.
Man, that Wyoming rivalry is real. It'll carry over to college. It's crazy.
Especially Sheridan and Gillette like that.
Oh, man. I used to see 2 of my teammates. It wouldn't be nothing too crazy, but they'll let each other know, like, yeah, this rivalry real, bro.
Yeah. I mean, Bush You talk about what it was like. What was it like between Sheridan and Gillette? Like I have a little taste of what it was, but
Oh,
what was it like at the high school
I
level
mean,
between Sheridan and Gillette?
Bull Gym. It's my senior year. They Sheridan brought in extra like outdoor bleachers, like those silver bleachers that they put outside at games.
Mm,
They brought in four of those for each corner of the building because you know how their gym is laid out. They have the bleachers behind
yeah,
the basket, and they brought that out for our game our senior year. There was just always so much hype around it because like it's weird, dude. Every time like we were really good that year, and Sheridan didn't make state, but when they came to our place, it was packed, and we only beat them by like 5. And
Mm.
you always get close games with Sheridan. I'm not even like don't take this as a comparison, but like you know how Duke, North Carolina always is close
Yeah.
like, all the time.
yeah.
That's how it felt like Sheridan. We were with Sheridan. It was just always close, no matter what.
I just remember Riley Ryan gamed you guys at home.
That's the
That
nastiest.
was awesome.
That's
Yeah,
one. Of,
I
that's
really.
the nastiest.
And then he flexed on you.
Yes, bro. The video on YouTube. There you can see some of the kids in the student section because I was at our place and they were trying to charge down and start fighting with him. I'm like, man, this man, that was the first time I got to see Riley Ryan in true form. He took over that game. He let that thing go, and I just watched it from the bench. I was like, damn, that's going in. Like you knew that shit's going in.
And it did. It did
Hey,
indeed.
we got him at
So,
regionals that year though, so
Well, let's welcome the people here since we're on record now. We episode, what is this, Bush? 14?
episode 14. Wow.
14. Another very special guest. You know, funny enough, from this city of Milwaukee, third one.
For
Yes, sir.
real.
And it's just a trend at this point. But Myles Henry's with us today. Both of us are connected to him through Black Hills, but also in other ways, past that and a little bit before that too. So, Myles, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, appreciate you fellas for having me, man.
Yes, sir. We were talking about Sheridan Gillette rivalry before this, but we brought up Riley Ryan. I want to talk about him a little bit, just because we brought him up. But Myles, what was your as Riley as a player? How would you describe him?
Man, he's kind of like I would say, a get it done type guy. Obviously he could shoot the ball. About 6'5". A lot of times we would play him at the 4, so it'd be a tough matchup because he can move like a guard, as far as speed and agility. But he's one of those guys you definitely want to have on your team, man. Shout out Riley.
He Bush, what's yours? I just want to hear your take as well.
He like Miles said he does it all, but like I'll just be honest with you. If there's when I try and teach how to take charges, I try and find Riley Ryan game film. That dude take 3 charges a game. It seemed like off those post touches. But no, you need a guy like that on your team because he'll make 2 shots. He'll make that first shot when he's feeling it, and he'll start like hopping back to defense. Like you know
Yeah.
how that little gallop hop he's got. He makes that second
Yeah.
one, and
With his hair bouncing
it's
up and
over.
down.
He's flexing. He's yelling, "Let's go!" That's standard Riley. Bro, I'll never
No,
forget
he-
the
that-
Grand Canyon game. he
Yeah, I wasn't at that one. He went off though.
he cooked them boys up.
But Bush, what you were saying. Well, what both of you guys were saying is like all of those things are true. But when I think like of a couple of things of Riley Ryan is that for one, he's a gamer. Like I remember he was always hitting big shots in big situations. Big threes or whatever it might be. But two, like he was the ultimate microwave shooter. Like when he started to get hot, it was money. And he would just throw it up there sometimes, and it just start walking back. But I remember like there'd be times we'd be just feeding Riley the ball three ball,
Mm-hmm.
trailer three. But he could get hot like that. But no, he's one of those dudes that, like, I want him taking a big shot for
Yes.
sure because he's just got the nuts to do it. I feel like.
He has a high chance. Man, I'm looking up the art because they don't have the stats from that game. He had 34 that game against GCU, and I remember he hit a shot because we got it down to 11. Nick hit a shot that got it to 11 with like 7 minutes left. Got a stop, came back, and we called some type of dribble drive action, and Wyatt set an illegal screen, and they called it. And Riley made the shot. We would have had that thing down to 8. Like GCU started hitting that mode where they're like, "Oh shit, we can't let this one slip," and they started playing different. But he like you said, he's just the guy that on your team. Hey, I'm gonna try. We got to have a look for Riley if it's a close game.
Yeah, man. Brody Brisk, he's another guy that he's from the Rapid area. I think him and Riley both probably played the 4, but I think Brody's probably more of like a 3/2, about the
Yes.
same height. Crazy athlete, man. Like sometimes when you see people go for their dunk, you can kind of tell by their last 2 steps that gather. Brody was the type of athlete where he'll just run full speed and just take off.
Hmm.
Like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I like playing.
He was one of those guys that was just kind of all of a sudden up in the air. Like it
Yeah.
was like it was just dribble, boing, and then he's up there and he's
Hmm.
punching.
Yeah.
The man dunked on Derek White. Yes, the Derek White that plays for the Boston Celtics. So did Miles. Shoot, you dunked on
I was
his
gonna
ass
say,
too.
didn't you, Miles?
Yeah, man. It's the BH way, I guess.
Oh man, I remember that
Uh,
because I wasn't on the team yet. I was just a student at the time, and I remember you drove down and rose up with no idea who this Derek White kid is, and just two hands in the rim. I was like, oh my lord, that and whoever had the dunk on Buddy from New Mexico Highlands, Manny Cass or whatever his name was.
Hmm.
That was that you too?
No, that game I had a putback dunk. I
That
didn't
was
dunk
yeah.
on.
Okay, there was the
I
putback
didn't
dunk.
dunk on many cast, but that game was super hype, man. Cause I can remember all like before we played them, Schaefer was like, they got 2D1 transfers. They got 2D1 transfers. It was just like so much hype around that game, and Highlands is one of those up tempo games that I love. Where you can get up in the 80s and 90s, and it's just free flowing. And yeah, man, we ended up pulling off the W in that one.
You almost had a double double that game. Tom Earl, dude, that there's so many players on this roster that year that like, bro, y'all's team was so much better than how it was used. I mean,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like, dude, I'm looking at this. Riley, Brody only played 11 minutes. Joey Mitch, that dude is the hardest player, like the hardest working player I've ever seen when it comes to like no quit, just push through the wall.
Yeah.
Um,
Joy was a competitor as well, man. He could shoot the ball. He was like a combo. Played the 1, he played the 2. Um, he'll press up, pick up at least at half. Joey's a pretty good player.
I think Chase Dubin, no, he didn't score that game. There was a
You
game I
looking at
went
the
to.
box
Dubes had a
scores?
putback. He had a putback, bro. I was like, whoa, what is this?
what did he say?
You looking at the
What did you
box
say?
score, Bush?
Yeah, I pulled it up. I pulled up the box score.
Oh, okay.
Miles, first of all, for those who don't know, Miles, we were talking beforehand. Um, Miles, you played 4 years in college.
I think I
Or
played 3,
5?
man. I played
Oh,
3.
3.
Yeah.
Wayne State.
Oh, you played 4.
Started at Wayne State.
No, actually,
Yeah, you did do 4.
no. So at Wayne State, I was an academic red shirt, so I didn't even play.
Oh,
I couldn't travel with the team. Only thing I could do was practice.
Okay.
Then I ended up going over to the Region 9 after that.
hmm So you did a year at Wayne State, jumped to Gillette, did a year there,
Yeah.
and then we've had guys from Sheridan, that played in that Region 9. Gillette's in that same league, and then jumped to Black Hills State for your final 2 years, correct?
Yeah. I played
Yeah,
my
so you did.
my sophomore and junior year at Black Hills State, and then things kind of didn't go how I planned, I guess. And I was set to transfer for my senior year, but then ultimately I just was like, I only needed 6 classes to graduate, so I just hung it up. Like, man, I'm just focused on school, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so but I wanted to ask you, that was all to say, like, obviously you have um, plenty of experience at the college level and are very familiar with what that college level is. You talked about, especially the year we were at Black Hills together that year, that first year with Trumbauer. I felt like that was just not, well, a system for anybody really, but like for you specifically, the type of player you are, that did, like, the way he was wanting you to play just did not fit what it was. And so, like, I remember you at Gillette because I was there as a freshman year at Gillette, and what type of player you were, and then obviously hooping with you. But what type of player do you describe yourself as, and how did that fit into those times you did have success in college?
Yeah,
How'd that play out?
I would describe myself as more like a up-tempo player. I think I rebounded the ball pretty good for my position, defended the ball pretty well. Obviously, slasher, mid-range game. As far as the system we were running, it was pretty stationary. I really didn't understand it because I'm like, man, we got some athletes. We don't have the most height, but we definitely got guys that can shoot the ball. We got some guys that can just put the ball in the basket, on the one-on-one tip. We switched it up to the dribble drive like halfway through the season.
Yeah,
It was still kind of like a structured dribble drive, but
very.
yeah, man, it was just it was a learning experience. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
That was
As Bush is shaking his head.
Bush, you had a good comparison, I think, for Myles the other day. What type? Like, it was his NBA comparison, I believe.
yeah, I did.
I think it was for Myles.
I don't
But
even, I don't
mine, I was trying to
remember.
think, as like leading up to the day, I was trying to think of like who I would equate your game to, and it's kind of like I kind of lean towards CJ McCollum with how you like get your body on people and create space a little bit more that way, and with his mid-range game. But I don't know. I feel like it was you that had a really good comparison,
I
Bush.
can't remember what it was, to be honest with you.
What would you say your NBA comparison is, Miles? Like, if you had to compare your game to an NBA player.
Originally coming to BH, I was like a 6-man role. So, just that standard 6-man, just come off, look to score, look to be like a high intensity player. So,
Mm,
CJ, that was, that's an honor to hear that. But, just any of those guys that just want to come in and just contribute like kind of instantaneously, I would just put that comparison on it. But I'm only like 6'2" on a good day, so it's not too many comparisons I'm gonna really, be direct with. But if it's an up tempo game and the coach is letting it go, I feel pretty confident out there. I'll say that.
mm-hmm.
With no structure, man. No. Hey, set it down. Once you set this down screen, you got to do this. But if he does this, you got to do that. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, bro.
But the line I always remember was, "You can't be wrong." But then in film session, it was like, "This is not what you should do here," and you're like,
Bro, it
"Damn,
wasn't even that. He'd be like, "You can't."
I thought I couldn't be
You see,
wrong."
he'd say you can't be wrong, and then he'd blow the play dead the next play. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
why did you do that, like, bro, coach? You just told him that he couldn't be wrong.
Yeah, those film sessions was brutal. It was like
Oh man.
I knew what it was going into it, and I'd just be like, "All right, here we go," and just get ready to practice afterwards.
Me and JMO stopped going to those film sessions. At one point, we are like, bro, I'm not sitting here for 2 hours to watch 5 plays, 25 different times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember the rewind was ridiculous.
Or you remember his rewind on Nick with his hand? What'd he do? He said some funky.
I can't remember.
He's like, oh yeah, and Nick, what are you doing on this play? Oh, yep, gonna scratch your nuts, and then yep, you're not gonna do anything.
Hey, man.
Oh man, yeah, he did say that. And I just remember Nick Duggan in the locker room, and he was, he walked in and just, sit down. What are you doing? Sit down.
Good times, right?
No, the popcorn, not the popcorn. You weren't there, Miles, but the hotel incident in Gunnison was my favorite one. Was Sonic. Dude was pissed. We went to Sonic. Brady Cameron didn't want to order anyone no more food because everyone was hungry still, and so everyone goes to Sonic, and it's what, -10 outside or whatever. It's cold in Gunnison, you know how it is. And I guess he went on a run, saw them like, "What are you guys doing?" They're like, "We're hungry. We ordered Sonic real quick, blah blah blah." They were like, "Well, we're trying to be quick." He's like, "All right, whatever," and took off. And he's like, "Just be fast and whatnot." And then he took off on his run, and I guess he came back, and half of them were still there. And he said, "You know what? Just get back to the hotel room, and I'll pay for it." And we called together this big old team meeting on in the hotel. Starts tossing food around all over the place. Not really just threw Riley's corn dogs at him, but he goes, Who got the foot long heart attack? Sam Mayer.
Heart attack.
That's me, coach. Who got the chili cheese fries? That's me again, coach. And Sam Mayer goes, and who got the slushy? Sam just stood up there. He's like, that's mine too. And he's like, damn, Sam, we have a game tomorrow, and you're not fueling the Ferrari properly right now. Then Riley tries to be a nice guy. Riley goes up and goes, hey, let me help you out. I'll help you out. Like, whatnot. Tries to be all nice. He goes, no, Riley, I'll serve you. I'm serving you right now, so you can go sit down. Goes, who had the corn dogs? Literally, next thing he pulls out, who had the corn dogs? Riley goes, those are mine. It's, whoa, and just tosses two of them at him. Things hit the floor. Bro, that was...
I was sitting on the toilet. I got in trouble because I walked into that thing late because had got back to the hotel room already and was sitting on the toilet. Waltz in there late, and I'm like, what's going on? And food's flying all over the room.
We called you. I remember we called you. Someone goes, Hilks, no, it's now. You need to be here now. 5 minutes ago now.
Pinch it off, bud.
Oh, man. What a night. What an experience that was.
Miles, we've talked a lot about, JUCO and, how the transfer process from that to not only, transferring into a different school, but transferring into a different system. What was that like for you going from Gillette to Black Hills and kind of readjusting to or relearning a system that you were stepping into?
Man, so I would say my recruitment process to going to Gillette, it was kind of short and sweet. I probably had maybe 3 or 4 offers, and 2 of them was back to the NSIC, and 2 was to the RMAC. And it was just the reaction I got from my teammates when Coach Neary walked past me. He was like, hey, Coach Schaefer from Black Hill State is calling you, or he's going to call you. And Luke Reller, shout out Luke Reller, he's from the Deadwood Lead area. Mm-hmm. And then I was standing with him and Urban Bingham, Big Herb. And the reaction that they had from here in Black Hill State, I guess Herb had been up there before just on some college party type stuff. And Luke from the area, and they're both was like, man, that'd be a good look, bro. You should really consider that. And, just coming in, he told me that, 2 of his top scorers was leaving. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to just come in hungry. And as I mentioned earlier, I was really that 6-man role probably for the first, say, 10 to 12 games or so. But the transition as far as offense and defensive schemes, it was a pretty simple adjustment. Once you're a hooper, it all just kind of translate. And some coaches they coach so you send guys baseline. Some coaches coach that you send guys middle for the help. And once you're a hooper, I'm sure both of y'all know you just kind of adjust, and as long as you got that hunger in you, you'll succeed in whatever role you in.
Do you feel like that junior year, or that, I guess it was your sophomore year at Black Hills, do you feel like that was your best year of college basketball?
I would say that, and like the second semester at Gillette, because at first that D1 JUCO, bro, it's so many hoopers in Region 9. You're not only playing against guys from different states, you playing against guys from different countries. Like, I think y'all had like a guy from Paris, and then Casper,
Canada.
Remy Debo, I think he was from Paris as well.
So those two dudes were cousins.
Oh, for real?
The dude on my team, yeah. So Ron and Buika is cousins with Remy Debo.
Man, so yeah, both just gamers, bro. But I think as far as like at a NCAA 4-year level, yeah, my sophomore year probably was my best year.
Yeah, I remember the scout on you was, because you were the sixth man at Gillette, weren't you?
No, I started pretty much every game.
You started at Gillette?
Mm-hmm.
I remember, I think the scout on you was like, this dude is going to get to the bucket, and he's going to get his hand on the basketball in the defensive end. But that was kind of your whole team, actually. You guys played really aggressive defense.
Mm-hmm.
You guys were always really pressuring super hard. But, yeah, I remember coming into Black Hills and being like, seeing you on the roster, I was like, I recognize this guy. And then I saw Gillette.
Did you play with Ryan?
Ryan Harold?
Ryan Aaron.
Ryan Aaron. No, he was a guy that I think he was like the first All-American at Gillette. So my year there was like,
yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, my year there was like the fourth year that Gillette had a program, so his name was still brought up highly, but no, I didn't play with him.
Because at first, the first dude was DeJuan Wright that we had. They sent him to Florida International. That squad that they had the first year was like, when he brought that in and all of us went to go check out those first games, like that town had never seen ball like that before. I was like shocked. I was like, damn, this is the type of talent this guy's bringing in. Oh my goodness. And then when Ryan came, I remember I went to the game. He had like 50. That dude, oh my god, that was another crazy 50 piece I've ever seen. Like, he couldn't miss no matter what he was doing. It was straight up break you down buckets, not like catch and shoot like how we were talking about Rags a couple weeks ago. But this dude was just isoing people. I remember you and Herb. I remember Herb, Kalen, all those dudes, all you guys coming to open gyms and stuff when you could. That, I ain't gonna lie, that helped us out so much, like moving forward, like helping us grow. Because playing open gyms against you guys, college dudes, made everything like, I was like, damn, these guys know what they're doing. Even though Herb would always get in a fight with one of his teammates, like every time. Every time.
If I had to pick like a starting 5 plus 6 man for all the teammates I've had, Herb would be thrown in that mix, man. Herb was a bucket. I'm not gonna lie. He was major potential for sure.
He reminded me of the way Boogie could play. Just like a big dude, but he had handles. He could shoot the three. He could get it done inside. Like, just a big ass frame.
Was he the dude that went to Minnesota Moorhead?
Yeah.
Or was that?
Yeah, we played against him in Alaska. Remember we went to Alaska?
We did. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, we played against him in Alaska. I think that team ended up going Final Four that year too.
They did. They had that really nice point guard that year.
Yeah.
He was a true point. He just ran the show.
Mm-hmm.
He got waxed in Alaska.
I didn't even go to.
Bro, that last game, who we played, like South Alabama or North Alabama or something?
West Alabama.
We played West Alabama, ended up going to OT, ended up losing in OT by like 10 or something. I don't know how that happened, but man, that was probably our best game up there.
Yeah.
What was that?
I remember a couple of those teams, like Alaska Fairbanks, we should have beat them, and we just played terrible. West Alabama. Did we play 3 games? Or
Yeah,
4
you
games?
played
3
three
games.
games. You played
3.
Fairbanks, Moorhead, and then West Alabama.
I thought we were better than West Alabama and
Oh,
Fairbanks. That
100%.
Moorhead team was way better than us, but
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Final Four.
Herb had 16.
Did you guys your year in at Gillette, was that the year that Northeastern won, or maybe it was Otero, but Northeastern made that run all the way to the championship?
I think
And they
North Platte.
weren't very good.
No, North Platte. North Platte won our Region 9 that year, and that's actually who beat us the second game at the tournament. So, actually, when we won our first game, that was Gillette's first time winning in the Region 9 tournament. And then the whole year, we had a 4-guard lineup, 1 forward. Whole year, everybody's healthy. That first game, I tweaked my ankle. OC and Dwight try to catch himself from falling, sprain his wrist. And how sometimes in the game you just tweak your ankle, keep playing, like, oh, I'm good. Get to the locker room, bro. We all excited playing Chief Keef, Love Sosa. Love Sosa going ASAP, bro.
Yeah.
My shoe off. Golf ball on my ankle. I'm like, oh my God. Didn't roll my ankle the whole year. Wait to the Region 9 tournament.
So who'd you play that first round?
Did we play Eastern? I want to say we played Eastern.
Eastern Wyoming.
Yeah.
We got upset by Northeastern, and they had won like 12 games all year, barely snuck into the tournament. Got upset first round by like 30. Coach comes into the locker room like, we're looking for everybody. We're looking for a spot for everybody. Everybody's in trouble. We're like, oh, man.
Mom, I'm coming home.
Something funny. When I heard y'all interview PJ, he was saying how Neary was talking to him a little bit, and then he ended up going to Sheridan. It was kind of the same for me, but like opposite. So the year I did post-grad at the military school after high school, first letter I get after a jamboree, Sheridan College. I'm like, oh man, okay. I'm just trying to see what's going on. I'm trying to get back to the 4-year school, but then ironically end up at Gillette playing against Sheridan College.
Mm-hmm. Was it, did Smiley write it, or did he write a handwritten one? He was a big on those.
No, it was more like it showed the dome and it showed the locker room, like one of those pamphlets, and then it had maybe like a 2-sentence little portion at the bottom. Mm-hmm. But then he was pretty consistent with, sending letters and stuff like that. But I just thought that was ironic that it was the same way for PJ. And I'm like, man, Neary and Smiley was like on the same accord when it came to recruiting sometimes.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna go? Are you glad that they brought that back in Gillette?
Oh, for sure, bro. I actually got to go over and see the arena when I was coaching this past winter. I hadn't seen it previously. And I'm like, man, this is clean enough to possibly be like an NCAA school. Like, very, very clean facility. And, Neary's the type of coach where he's laid back, but he's also a straight shooter. He's not going to go too much. But then also, he's not going to trip on too much. So I know he's going to pick up right where he left off.
Neary a good dude. I see him all the time still. And once I kind of got wind that he was their first call, I was like, oh yeah, this has been in the works for a year now when he got that job. But like you said, I think that place, with what they've done facility wise, like the soccer field's super nice, the arena's nice, all the stuff they got downstairs with their weight room, all that stuff, dude. That place is a solid like college, and I think that was the biggest reason why a lot of people in Gillette got so mad when they ended it. Was just like, dude, guys, we just spent all this damn money to build these facilities, and now for what? Like, for
wasn't it
for
like
what?
2 years after that got built?
Yeah, because it was all with the COVID thing. Like, they were worried that funding, money, all that stuff, and so they just shut down Gillette and Sheridan. Like I guess, from what I heard from Neary, was that they went into work one day, left thinking, all right, getting ready to go recruit or do something involved with the program. And then the next morning, the president called in a meeting and basically said, athletics is done. And they had no idea that was going to happen. It was just like, all right, athletics done, no more.
It's crazy.
For real.
But I mean, it doesn't surprise me that Gillette brought it back, but it does surprise me that Sheridan hasn't brought it back yet because, you know, there's a lot of money in that community as well to where, and it was, like you said, talked about in Gillette, it was kind of the biggest show in town with it being college basketball and good college basketball. And people really supported it, so it surprises me that they haven't brought it back there because Gillette and Sheridan are also, they're the part of the same district, the same community college district, so I was like, dang, Gillette got it done, but Sheridan can't figure it
The
out.
thing about Gillette, though, Gillette's like Sheridan when it comes to football. Like, Sheridan gets football crowds at their high school that's just insane. But in Gillette, when it comes to basketball, like, there's something going on with basketball, you could probably expect either of the gyms to be pretty well packed and a lot of people in there. That's why I'm excited for this. The first game of the year they have this year is, I know that place is going to be sold out. They're going to allow standing room only around the track up top. So like, there's going to be a lot of people there for that game.
I gotta look up this arena. I haven't actually seen
It's
it.
nice, because they
It's a little
do
better than Sheridan, Tate. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro.
100%.
Hey, man. Oh, that is nice. Oof.
Because they started hosting the
Dang,
Energy
that's super
Classic
nice.
there when it was still a thing. They ended that for high school too.
Hey, man, you can't beat the dome even though it's got a leaky roof.
It's funny,
Did you
bro.
like playing in that dome?
Story about that dome. That's the first time I ever heard that intro to Dreams and Nightmares by Meek Mill. We warming up. I'm like, why is they playing this slow song? You know, that intro, the first, 45 seconds. Oh,
Yeah, it's a good minute almost.
almost a minute, bro. And I'm like, what's going on? Then I hear that, hold up, wait a minute. I'm like, oh,
Not that I was
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. But playing in that dome, just that whole rivalry, you just have no choice but to embrace it. Don't we exchange like some type of trophy or something? Whoever wins that.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, we get, it's a traveling trophy that goes back and forth.
Yeah, unfortunately, y'all swept us.
Probably in Gillette. Oh, did we? We
Yeah,
swept you that
y'all
year?
swept us, but I mean, y'all had some horses in that stable, bro. So I ain't even too mad looking back on it.
Yeah, we had a good squad that year.
Yeah, for sure.
We had a better squad, I think, my second year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think we were just deeper, actually. I don't know if we had more talent. We were just way deeper.
That's the thing about Region 9, though, is like, no matter where, like you were saying earlier, Miles, no matter where you go, you're facing talent from all over the place, like all over the place. Because wasn't what was that kid? Or Nelson Collier from Australia? He went to Pueblo, right? He played for
Yep.
Eastern, I think it was. Was he?
I think he's Eastern.
Was he there when you
Yeah.
played? Tate?
The name,
Yeah,
Miles?
he was.
the name
He
doesn't
was.
sound familiar, but if you was at Pueblo, I probably played him when I was at Black Hills.
Yeah, I think he's probably 2 years younger than you, Miles, and I think a year younger than me.
Okay.
Or wait, you said you're 2010. You graduated, so he's probably a few years younger than you. But yeah, we played against him my junior and then my senior year. But you see a lot of Region 9 guys go into that RMAC. Like it's a pretty cohesive region that it spans throughout pretty much each of them kind of cover the same distance. So
Yeah.
it makes sense that a lot of those kids go there. But you also see a lot of these kids, you see a lot of these dudes go D1 too. Like, you mentioned Remy Debo. He went West Virginia.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you had a number of guys on your team either go D1 or get heavily recruited by D1s, so it's a league where you're going to see talent on a nightly basis.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Did you prefer JUCO over the 4 year? Because I did, I think, for different reasons though.
I would say I was just so eager to get to that 4 year, man. Like I said, I was after high school. I ended up going to prep school. It was a military school for a year. Then I ended up being an academic redshirt at Wayne State. Then I played junior college. So when I finally got to Wayne State, when I finally got to Black Hills State, I was just so ready to actually, perform. I'm just like, man, this is what I've been waiting for. So, and then just seeing the talent we played, like I think Metro State was like #1 in the nation my first year, and then Springs snuck in there, was like in the teens, and Colorado Mines was ranked in the nation as
They
well.
had those
so,
two big ass dudes when your first year there.
yeah, I think they started like a 6'11" and a 6'9" or something at the Division II level.
Bro, they were monsters. They were fucking monsters.
Yeah, man. So by the time I got there, bro, I was just so ready to actually perform. So I'm like, bro, it's been like 3 years since high school. Like, I'm just so ready. So I would prefer the 4 year over the JUCO. JUCO was nice, but I was just ready to get out there.
JUCO's got that. It's not. I wouldn't want to say it's pressure, but it's that kind of never-ending battle till you do get that next scholarship. It's that never-ending fight to, like, oh, I still don't have what I'm looking for. I still don't have an offer, so I gotta keep grinding it out. But yeah, like you said, with your journey, getting back to that 4-year level, I'm sure it was very satisfying once you were there again.
Oh, yeah, man, for sure, bro. Especially the competition level. It was just, every night it was a guy, like, even we played against Colorado Christian. I remember looking at the scout. I'm like, they got 2 guys under 6 feet, and they both averaging 20 a game. It didn't make sense until I played, and then we ended up playing a game where it was like 95 to 99 or something. Okay, this is how they both average 20. It's up tempo, and they point guard was coming down, no pass, pull up from volleyball line. He was smacking sometimes. So,
dude, that game he hit the. You guys were up 3. That's what there. Here's the game. Y'all were up 3, and he hit that 3-pointer from the logo on the side, like in front of the benches. That went in, and I was just like, oh my god. Kyle Weaver, he had 34 that game. Woo!
Avery Redmond, I think that was their 2 guard. He was like 5'10".
He had 21 that game, bro. When you're playing, and then they had Michael Brown too. He was that guy. He was a D1 transfer too. That was such good talent on that team.
Colorado Christian was getting guys like that?
Yes,
That's crazy.
bro.
Getting D1 transfers?
Yes.
I feel like they have such a hard niche to recruit in, like they're a private school. They, they obviously have that faith aspect to it that they have to, like, really narrow their search. That's crazy they were getting guys like that.
Yeah. Well, like Myles said, they weren't that, like, I don't think they were really that good. It's just like they scored the basketball,
Oh, the team wasn't
Yeah,
that good?
I don't know. They weren't really that good. They just had dudes that could score offensively, which is weird to say. I mean, you have to be able to play defense at the college level to win games, realistically.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm looking at this Nuggets score.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got to get Miles' take on some NBA stuff.
Well, I know,
here.
Miles, who's you texted me earlier, you said Nick Nurse. Heard it here first. But now that there's some other coaches opened up, do you think it's still going to be Nick Nurse?
No, man, give me Monty, bro. Monty Williams. Hey, bro, we need you. Pause. But, man, so many. It's just crazy to think about. I know Doc got let go today. Monty Williams, Nick Nurse.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Yeah,
that.
Doc got let go this morning.
It's just like a plethora of coaches that are available, and it's like, I know every team has championship aspirations, but it's like sometimes you got to be a little patient. Like the Monty Williams, that was such a quick trigger. Like, y'all made a mid-season trade, rebuilt the whole team, and expected this guy to win you a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got to at least give him a year or 2.
Yeah. I agree with that because like I think everyone they saw KD, CP3, and D Book. They're like, oh yeah. I mean I felt guilty in that trap too, where it was like, oh, they're gonna be good. They're gonna win. They're gonna win the finals. But when KD rolled his ankle in warmups, you really saw it really exposed. Like, dude, these guys have no depth at all, zero. So, but I mean, I don't know. It was weird because he turned that whole organization around. Really, he really turned them around and made them top 4 team in the West. So I just don't like that win now thing that falls on the coaches. And I mean, like Nick Nurse got fired. He won a championship 3 years ago. Frank Vogel last year or whatever got fired. He won a championship 2 years ago. And then Coach Bud got fired, won a championship a couple years ago. I think that one was like time. I think his time in Milwaukee had honestly ran the course. Just y'all kept the same
You think
squad.
so too, Miles?
You said who
You
would I
think so
prefer?
too that you think so that Budenholzer needed to go in Milwaukee?
See, the thing is, in Milwaukee, we was calling for his firing in 2021. It was ironic that he wanted chips. We had to back off a little bit. Like, okay, he decent. And then he had that one gap year when Middleton was hurt, and we kind of just forgave him. And then this year, we just went so sweet, bro. Like, first round, gentleman sweep. With that roster, we gave up so much to get Jay Crowder, barely plays. Like, bro, that's just a star-studded and just quality role player type roster. Like, we can't get gentlemen swept first round. Like, that's, I mean, on that end, it kind of falls on him, you know? His adjustments aren't the best. He did win us a championship, you know? Shout out to Bud for that, but you can't get swept first round, man. Gentlemen swept.
I mean, the Heat are good. The Heat are good, but like, come on, y'all were dominating the NBA for the last 2 months, and then for that to just happen like that, it was like, what the hell? Just like, what happened?
Yeah.
But I think to Miles' point, like if it's a coaching thing, I feel like Eric Spoelstra is probably one of the best, you know, because I feel like we talked about this last podcast, maybe Bush, is if the Heat are in the playoffs, they got a shot, you know, because they have that. They just seem to be one of those teams that, if they make it in there, they're going to give you their best shot. So maybe that is to Miles's point. That he got out coached.
Oh yeah, 100%. Spo, the best coach in the NBA, hands down. Like, I don't think there's anyone really as close to him that's in his league of coaching. If you put him on the coaching market today, I don't think any job would be safe. All 31 other teams would be looking like, could we maybe get Coach Spo here? Type deal. You know what I mean? Like, I could really see that being one of them situations. Should I think about it? Man, we have a chance
Greg
for this.
Popovich?
Yeah, but like I saw someone said this too. Like, look at what Spo has had in his coaching career. Like, outside of LeBron, yeah, he had Jimmy Butler, but when it was just Kyle Lowry and D Wade, they were still making the playoffs, and not. I mean, they weren't always the best teams, but they still were competitive in those times. Popovich, I mean, he's getting all these younger dudes, but you got to think, for the majority of his run, he got blessed with some great players. Like Steve Kerr has been blessed with just great dudes. You know, he's gotten to coach Tim Duncan. The Admiral. I'm drawing a blank on his actual name. David Robinson. Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. All these dudes, he's gotten to coach Kawhi Leonard, vets. How many coaches get to say that? It's like, same with Phil Jackson. Like, look who Phil Jackson had in his coaching career. Dude had Michael and Scotty, Shaq and Kobe and Powell. Like, you better win championships with players like that.
That's very fair. That's very fair.
Sidebar: have either of you been to Milwaukee? I know I'm probably the second or third Milwaukee guest y'all had. Either of y'all been there?
I haven't.
We went to Milwaukee. So when I was at Concordia, my second year coaching, we always take like a Christmas or an after Christmas trip. And we went to Chicago that second year there, and we went to a Milwaukee game in Milwaukee, but I wasn't there for very long.
Okay.
It was at their old arena though.
Oh, y'all went to the Bradley Center?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
They're at the Pfizer Forum now. The way it's built out is just like ideal for how you want your arena, man. They got like huge screens they'll bring outside, and like when we went on that championship run, it was literally like 100,000 people out there. Like I can remember driving on the interstate coming back during the playoffs, and you'll just see people like just speeding. I'm talking about like not even in the lanes, they're getting in like the side lanes, you know, when you hit it, like they just speeding through downtown Milwaukee, man. It was a sight to see. It was a little bit too much people for me to actually go down there. At the time, I lived on like 3rd and Brown, which anybody from Milwaukee, you know, that's like right 3-4 blocks walk downtown. And me and my boy T, we just walked down there. We was watching the championship game on my phone when we knew we were going to win it. And then, you know, we got like close enough that we could actually see. He was all right, yeah, it's time to go. Everybody come.
I was talking to I remember I got on the party chat that night y'all won, and I was talking some smack to like Rel and Dank and all those guys. I'm like, man, y'all got blah blah blah. And I remember the next day or 2 days later we got back on, and Rel came on. He's like, bro, I went downtown that night. Oh my god. He said and then the next day too. He's like, man, I ain't never seen this many people out in Milwaukee. He's like, bro, I saw PJ Tucker going from bar to bar, just chatting it up with people because everyone they were just so like the city was just so happy. Like, man, we just won a championship, and I remember y'all were on cloud nine that week and a half. Even Chris, Clem's older brother, he FaceTimed me. He's like, man, look at this right now, and was showing me all the people out. People in Milwaukee were living the dream during that run.
Yeah, man. It's just one of those Midwestern cities that's real competitive, and that's the first year we got a championship in like, 50, I believe. Yeah. It was a year drought. So it was people coming from 2 and 3 hours, like, north to come downtown. At the time where I was working, the guy who was like my supervisor, he was like, man, I can't get these playoff tickets. They're like $1,200. In the back of my mind, I'm like, shit. But but in the same breath, I'm like, bro, I do feel you. We probably won't do this again, like, you know, necessarily soon. And then he ended up telling me, like, yeah, I have to go ahead and spend that money, and he didn't regret it, and I ain't blame him for it, man.
Sometimes you got to do that if you know, like, if the finals is such an elite level event, you have to have some real money to go to that. But like, if that's your only real shot at going, like he said, you might as well just spend that money. You can make it back. It may take a little bit, but dude, just because you'll never get to experience something like that again. I mean, the Final Four was pretty cool when I went to that, but I would love to go to a finals game. But who do you got? With these last 4 teams in it? Who's making the finals?
See, I want to see Bron get another one, man. Just seeing him break this scoring record and just looking at his longevity. And, like, a lot of times that's how you can really judge a player is, like, you know, off their body of work. And just seeing where he's at in year 20 and he's still making all NBA, it's like, I know Mike got so many rings and everybody want to say he went, you know, 6 for 6, but it's just like you can't deny LeBron greatness. So I wouldn't mind seeing that old school Lakers and Boston rivalry kick back up. That'd be a good one.
Did you know AD had way better averages than LeBron James outside of like 3 categories and didn't make All NBA?
I was listening to a podcast earlier today. I can't remember which one, but they were saying like pretty much what you're saying, that AD had a better year, but at the end of the day, it's Bron. So
he got clouded into that. I think he got a little clout call on that one. Like, we can't leave Bron out.
Yeah,
can't leave Bron out. Man, yeah, you know my feelings on that. Like he a great player. He's something we'll never see again, and I can't do it, man.
It just hurts him that you
Can't
said
do
that,
it.
Miles.
I
I
can't.
know it hurts him.
Man,
I just don't want.
But I'm happy.
I,
I agree because I want to see, him continue to play at that pinnacle. Not only putting up the numbers he's doing, but also winning at the level that he's been winning at his whole career. You know,
I'm gonna say one thing because I heard someone say this on a talk show or something, and I agreed with it 100%. If you look at how Bron's career played out, like if he and I know he hasn't had like all the best player, all like he had some pretty bad Cleveland teams. Honestly, like he did his first run there, and even his second run there. That last year he was in Cleveland, that was not a good. That was a fourth seed in the East, but he they said if Bron would have been playing like he does now, trusting guys more, like how he's trusting Austin Reeves to just be like, yo, go pull it, and deflating to other stars or other people more. They're like, dude, Bron could have had 8 rings by now. If you really think about it, if he didn't have to go, if he didn't really necessarily go like takeover mode like he did in a lot of games, because they're saying like, man, he really could have 8 rings right now, and I agreed with that because the way we're seeing a much different LeBron than we did even before he got hurt in the beginning of this year. He was still old Bron, scoring the ball, getting triple, all that stuff. 'Cause I was looking through his numbers. He had way more 30-point games, 40-point games. He scratched 30 points one time in the playoffs. But the way he's playing, dude, it's just been so efficient. Yeah, he looks tired, but like tonight, he's 9 of 15, 12 rebounds, 9 assists. Like he's deflecting the ball to other people, trusting his teammates more. Even though it is AD's team, but I don't know. I just like it is cool to see how he's, like you said, the longevity of his career. You can't take that away from him. No athlete, professional athlete, has played 20 years as healthy as he's made it through 20 years. Like when was the last serious? I guess ever since the groin injury, he has been getting injured, but the way he's been able to take care of his body, dude's running around at 38 years old, still looking like he's 30.
Yeah, Bron's an anomaly, man. He's just different, bro. Even like just in his character off the court, I know it's a lot going on with Ja and other players right now. Like, literally never heard a scandal about LeBron. Like, you know how hard that is being a millionaire at 18 all the way to 38?
With a target on your back as big as he did.
Yeah, he literally got chosen one on his back and just been the chosen one. Like, shout out Bron.
I wanted to ask you this. What do you think with Ja Morant? I want to ask both y'all this. What should they do here? Like what should if you're Adam Silver or if you're head of whoever decides this, what do you what's your thought process?
Man, you got to sit the young fella down for a little while. It's like, I mean, I don't know what he's going through. I'm not a millionaire, and he's 23, 24, and I just don't know. I don't understand why he's acting that way, bro. It's like, even if he came from humble beginnings, like you worked your whole life to get to this point just to mess it up. And he's making major money, like not making all NBA. They said he missed out on 38, 40 million. Like that's crazy. So if I was Silver, got to give him at least, the hooper in me, I'm gonna say 20. But if I'm looking at it from like a GM's perspective, or I'm helping run the league, facilitate the league, you almost got to make an example in some way. I'm not saying the whole season, but it's like, come on, man, we gave you a slap on the wrist. You missed out on so much money, and then you do it again. And if you watch the video, like, it was cool, and then he just randomly flashed, and this guy tried to save him. So it's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah. His guy was. That's one thing that's been bothering me. And they're like, man, why are you hanging out with all these people that recording everything you do? And it's like, bro, you're being recorded. you know the outcome, what it could be if you do some stupid stuff online. The way social media is nowadays, like someone's screen recording that already, waiting for him to mess up. It's just how people are. But like, I hate how they're blaming the friend. Like, you know what you're doing. Like you said, he pulled his phone down. Like, damn, he's probably looking at him like, bro, what are you doing? You are dumb right
Yeah.
now. I say give him. I said it on Twitter. I was just like, man, you either give him 41 games, you give him half the season, or a full season. I know people don't want to see a full season, but like you said, you got to set the precedent. It's now. You can't, because basically what he did to Adam Silver was just a big F you. I'm gonna do me still. I'm God type deal, and it's just like, man, you got a slap in the wrist the first time around. They let you off like, hey, probably wasn't the brightest move. We see that you've gone to counseling, all that stuff. But to do it again, bro, it's like, why? After he, in his exit interview, he said, I need to do a better job being a leader, doing a better job of all these things, being smarter in what I'm doing. Like, it's just frustrating to see at this point, because it's like, this man is supposed to be the face of the league, and he keeps doing stuff like this. So it's like, you have to set an example for it.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of on the same page. It's like, if you're gonna expect anything to change from Adam Silver's perspective, or whoever the decision makers are perspective, you got to make it a punishment that's gonna get through to him, get through to Ja as well. It can't just be, oh, we want Ja on the floor because it gets viewers and it gets whatever highlights and all this type of stuff, and you're trying to salvage things that way. Now it's got to be about, for one, preserving the league of the NBA, but also preserving Ja's career, hopefully, and setting an example now that will help him be like, okay, I'm not messing with that stuff anymore. Because if you want Ja in the league, you're going to make the hard decision now to, hopefully in the long run, it's going to get through to him that he can't be doing that stuff if he wants to continue to be in the NBA.
No, for sure. I want to circle back on something you said, Tate. You said you preferred your time at the junior college over the 4-year. Why is that, man? That's a take that I haven't heard before. I'm interested in hearing on why that is.
I would say I enjoyed the JUCO side of things at the basketball perspective much more than I did at the 4-year level. The social life of the 4-year college was nowhere even close. It was way better, obviously. But like on the basketball side of things, for one, like my first year, I spent my freshman year, it made me realize I was not ready for college basketball at that point. Like, I'm guessing like you could have stepped in and not necessarily played 40 minutes as a freshman, but a guy like you, that as talented as you are and with the skill set that you have, had a lot better chance of competing immediately than I did. I needed that year, probably even more than that year, to get up to speed with the game, get physical, get my body right to where I was ready to play at that level. But I loved the JUCO basketball because things we talked about before is the level it was, the talent we were playing against, but also the guys I got to play with, like guys from Paris, guys from Milwaukee, guys from Chicago. Like, it opened my eyes so much, not only to the basketball side of things, but just, being from Laramie, Wyoming, I'm not around guys that are from inner city Chicago or from Baltimore or from Paris. And it was the life side of things too, of being able to be around guys like that and see they want the same thing I want. They want a shot at getting that next spot, or just having a solid day of practice that day. So
Hmm.
in all areas, it was just a huge growing experience for me, I guess, is the long story short.
Would you say it was a bit of a culture shock for you, like first coming into Sheridan? Like, what was those first maybe couple months like? Your transition from senior year, and as you mentioned, you playing with guys from Chicago and Baltimore, and a bunch of different cities. What was that like for you?
It was like I didn't play AAU in high school. The AAU was obviously big and stuff, but I didn't realize the importance of it.
Hmm.
So I had never gone and played these teams like the Playmakers that you played with, or the Compton Magic, or all these AAU teams that are well known.
Hmm.
I'd never played at that level, so my sample size of talent like that was very small. And so when you put me on a team where the other 11 guys are just as talented, but probably much more talented than me, it was definitely a culture shock for me. Like I told this story, I think last time or one of these podcasts. I remember I walked out of that first open gym at Sheridan, and I wanted to walk into Smiley's office and be like, "Why do you have me on this team? Like, I'm not good enough to be here. Why the heck am I on this team?" You know what I mean? So I was able to grow to where my sophomore year, I started the entire second half of the year. So I guess rounding back to your first question is I developed so much in that year and a half or 2 years that I was at Sheridan that it prepared me for the basketball at the 4-year level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Let me ask you the same question, the culture shock. Obviously, you're coming from Milwaukie, going to Gillette. What was the culture shock like for you, if any?
I don't think Gillette was much of a culture shock for me, man, because, just like my education or, just my time in elementary school, I started off going to like a K through 12 school, Holy Redeemer, which is on like the north side of Milwaukee. And then what a lot of people do in Milwaukee is they either want to try to go to like a suburban school, or they'll try to go to like a charter school where they'll have like the opportunity to play right away. And I ended up choosing the route of going to a suburban school. So, the culture that I embraced at Gillette was similar to what I endured while in high school. I'll say the biggest culture change I went through is, post high school when I went to that military academy, bro. How you mentioned you almost went to Smiley office and just was like, I'm done. That's what it was when I went to that military academy, bro. It was very different. You waking up 6 a.m. The first month was like boot camp, so no phone, no internet. Our drill sergeant coming in with a wooden spoon, and he hitting a pot and pan, waking us up, and we got to go out, and we're marching. We only play basketball for like an hour out the day. The rest is just all military. So I just felt once I got through that, I was just ready to get through everything, because I was ready to hang it up and just see I got through it. I'm like, man, I could do whatever or any situation I'm faced with, any culture, I'm going to just get through it.
That's a good perspective, because I think, for one, your situation, but also JUCO does that for a lot of guys. It makes them realize that I don't need the crazy nice locker room and the, whatever, all the gear and whatever else it is that to make it a valuable experience. I think JUCO and the situations like you brought up really, I think, bring that to light for a lot of guys. And that's like the fancy locker rooms and the thousands of dollars worth of gear. That's not the norm. Like, a lot of places don't have that, especially if you're at the D2 level, lower D1 level.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the reality. So maybe makes them a little more grounded in what reality is at the college basketball level.
Mm-hmm. I mean, hell, we were playing. I remember the locker room the first year of BH was shared with the track team, cross country dudes, and it was rows like you would see at like a community center or something like that.
Man, that locker room was terrible, bro. I was just happy we had a nice court. We had the shooting machine, and then I seen the calf, and I'm like, okay, I'm straight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. But Bush, what was your first couple years like in college? I know it was a transition from you, being a hooper, and then was you still a part of the team. We always accepted you, you one of the guys for life. But like, what was that transition like for you?
I think for me, like the first year was just harder to like get past the fact that I'm done playing. Like I was trying to figure out, man, like I miss being a part of a team of like that, of just having a group of dudes that you're always hanging out with, or just just guys that you're friends with and whatnot. So that was harder for me. And I still like I met Joe Cam freshman year. So I knew you guys, like I had known of you guys, and like from open gym, like we'd be playing open gym together. And Cam Anderson, that was another, that with him being from Gillette too, that was an easier way for me to like be around you guys and whatnot, even when I wasn't a part of the team. But then that next year it was more or less trying to figure out like just accept being in that role. Like, all right, this is my role. They need me to bring towels to the gym. Okay, that's my role. I have to do laundry afterwards. All right. I mean, that was different for me, but I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew that I had to get through there. But more or less, it was like, I think it was more of a culture shock for me, honestly, when I started really hanging around you, Clem, and Yosh, because I had never, growing up in Gillette, Midwest Wyoming, like you don't see inner city stuff, and we don't play against that either. So just seeing the way like we all played against each other, like how I had to work on my game even though I didn't play, just to even like compete on the same court with you guys, life values, knowing that there are people out there that do have a much more difficult life to get where they were, and things like that. So that was one thing I was always super appreciative of, was one, you guys accepting me as quickly as you did as one of the dudes. Like normally I feel like teams like that don't necessarily, oh, he's the manager, he's an extension of the staff, you got to be cool around him type stuff. And it was one of those things where you guys knew right away, like, oh, Bush not that type of guy to snitch on anyone or be all that. And so I think that was one thing I was appreciative of. And Clem said it best too, like, I wouldn't be the player or like have the same mentality about things if I wouldn't have been playing like 3-dribble and stuff with you guys every summer or after practice and stuff, and actually just saying, you know what, I'm about to get dropped off in this game, probably not touch the ball but twice, but hey, I'm gonna figure it out some point, to where I started being able to win a couple games here and there, being able to play an open gym, and people were like, oh, we can trust Bush with the basketball type thing. So that's the things I'm appreciative of, and like I said, like I gained more of a family after it was all said and done. Like there's a group of dudes in our lives now that we'll forever be like friends with, and like that's your guy and whatnot. So that was the part for me about college, like because my role was different. Obviously, I didn't touch the court at all in games, right? So getting used to that and being like, telling people, they'd be like, oh, when you playing, why don't you play? Like, I don't play. I'm just the glorified water boy because I want to coach one day, So
Yeah,
taught me how to be humble.
Man, just speaking of 3-dribble, bro, I seen your game improve, Joe Cam, Wyatt, like, you got 3 dribbles to get that bucket, and that's like a game. I'm sure they play at other places, but in Milwaukee, like, that's just standard for one-on-one. It's 3 dribbles. And, like, that's even helped my game, middle school and high school, we playing 3 dribbles. You got 3 dribbles to get to the bucket. What you gonna do? So, yeah, man, I've just seen, a lot of growth in you just overall, Bush, coming in. I could tell you was a little bit nervous, and I ain't gonna lie, I gave you a little shit the first couple of weeks.
Had to, I mean, which was expected though. I mean, I expected that. I was like, this is gonna be a little bit different. I was nervous though. I will be honest. Being around you guys more, I'm like, damn, where's my line here? What can't I do? Type deal.
Yeah, man. Good times though, for sure.
Nah, real quick, 3-dribble is something that I feel like everybody should be like making their teams do at some point, like 3 dribbles. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I've thrown that out to people. I'm like, you got 3 dribbles to score, and they're like, what? That make how like
Yeah,
what?
it's like crazy that you'd say
And
that.
I've seen kids that can get buckets, melt down in that, and score 1 or 2 buckets, and just consistently get smoked
Mhm.
because they don't know how to create space for themselves, or they just don't understand, like, hey man, if you tack this lead foot, like, you're gonna be good. Like, just learning how to move the defender's feet around, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were talking about 3, just kind of on that topic that Clem brought up. First time, I think, Bush, you were with us, but first time I met Myles and Clem was walking into the field house, and they were playing 3 dribble against you guys that first day we all got to Black Hills.
I remember that. It's funny.
But go ahead.
No, I was gonna rewind a little bit. Before I hopped on, I was just thinking, like, when was the first time I actually remember tape? I can remember the first time we played against Sheridan, and they subbed you in. I'm like, who is this dude they putting in? I'm thinking. But then, to my surprise, I'm like, okay, he's solid with the ball. He getting the rotation from the left side to the right side, and it was just that split second somebody didn't close out. You cast the tray, and like you didn't hesitate, and you know how Tate shoot. He's quick to get his feet set, and he got a quick release. Like he get it in his pocket real quick. And once he cashed it, I'm like, okay, I see why they got him out here. Like after that, it was just respect.
That was my job, man. That was pass the ball, get the ball where it needs to be, and shoot threes, man. That was what I was supposed to do at Sheridan. But I had to, like, that's talking about developing as a player, like learning to play against guys that are longer and more athletic, like you and other dudes we played against. That was a huge learning curve for me. Is boom, catch, the feet already need to be ready to go because that ball's going up, So I had to develop that. And Bush, like I feel like you play the same way, where it's your catch shot first.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like a guy like Myles, it's like boom, catch and look at the rim kind of to maybe draw defense and then bam, attack dudes. So no, I just remember playing against you in that 3 dribble stuff and just being like, this dude ain't that big, but he bodies like crazy. Because I remember you put a shoulder into me a couple times and like hit your little turnarounds, and I was like, oh, that dude really uses his body.
Man, I was one of those kids that did my growing early, man. So I was a post pretty much until 8th grade. Like I want to say coming into my freshman year, I might have been 6 feet already. And then I kind of just gradually transitioned into, being a wing. So I still got that post in me, man. That was my, first position.
I can tell by that footwork when you get your back to the basket and how you move the shoulders and you use both pivots. I can tell you could play in the post a little bit.
Yeah, man, that was my bread and butter for a while.
I have to bring this up because the first time I really had seen, I think, Myles and Joe on campus was I was walking from the top entrance to the Young Center from the dorms, and it's that window that overlooks the field house, and it's like Myles, Joe, Bisgard, Brody, and someone else playing 3 dribble on the far court. Myles was on offense, and Joe kept trying to check him the ball, but Joe kept like rolling the basketball to him, dog. And Myles would just like look at that thing and watch it go past, and Joe would go run after it, and he'd do the same thing. They check up the first time, and he'd roll it to Myles. And Myles would just watch that thing go by again, like, no, bro, give me the ball right here. Did it like 3 different times. I was dead. Man, that's some petty shit, but that's so funny.
That's such a Joe Cam thing to do, I feel like just be super difficult like that in random ways.
Yeah, man. Shout out Joe Cam, bro. We used to call him Free World Joe. First came to campus, all he wanted to do was ride bikes, go fishing, and drink dew. His freshman year, him and Wyatt actually ended up redshirting. And I remember I used to just do freshman pranks on them. They used to love to sleep in. Always been an early riser, and I had a little basketball journey before, so I knew like you got to put work in when other people trying to sleep, or just when you got free time, you got to put that work in. So I used to just go in there and just waking them up, just with crazy stuff, bro. It was like the first 2 weeks of college, right? Barely knowing these guys, but we teammates. They one of the guys now, so. Why is about 5'8", 5'9", and we stand in the dorms, and they had like this top shelf in the closet space, right? So I take an apple, I just push it all the way back on that top, push it all the way back, right? And then Wyatt, he got a little detective in him, so he's like, man, this smells funny in here. He said that for a couple days. I'm just sitting there like, I don't know. This is when then like the third day, like, no, bro, it really stinks in here. Did you do something? I know you. He found that apple and he texted me while I was in class, like, I found that apple, you asshole. Yeah, man. Those guys, though.
Man,
shout out both of those dudes, man.
Hey, every time I drive past you, Clem, and Yosh's spot, that place cracks me up because that was such a ratchet ass little basement apartment. I remember, and because one story I remember, someone fell asleep with boiling hot dogs, and the water all evaporated, and it started cooking the hot dogs on the pan. But the funniest memories I have from there is when we would be putting the gloves on in that soccer field. Every time I pass the soccer field, I think about, man, we really had the gloves on.
Bro, that was crazy times. Them hot dogs, that was definitely a Clemmer Yosh move. They
had to be.
100% Clemmer Yosh.
Them gloves, bro. We in college, so we have a couple brews and be chilling out of nowhere. Put the gloves on. With no weight class. You man enough, you step up and you squaring up. That's what it was.
And it always start with Joe poking some man. We should get the glove. I'll knock your ass out. Like,
yeah,
man,
Joe.
Oh, Hills was.
I just remember Serge trying to take my head off that one time.
Oh, you did crazy. I remember that tape.
Looking like Muhammad
that
Ali.
Muhammad Ali defense.
No,
Bro, the worst part was your hands are at your waist, and I just remember Nick saying, "You better put your hands up."
Yeah, I was a little foolish for that, but none of them caught me, thank God.
No. You would have been sleeping on the lawn.
Well, Serge was. Yeah, I mean, usually we would just be kind of jabbing at each other,
Serge
maybe trying to get a couple
swings.
good licks in. Serge was throwing haymakers out there. They do it different in Australia, I guess.
Yeah.
For real, dude came ready to toss some hands around. But no, that's all I got. Really.
Yeah,
Think about.
that's about a wrap for it, I think.
About
That's about an
wrapping it
hour
up.
30.
Yeah.
Dude, we just keep getting longer and longer.
Yeah, but that's okay. Come on, man.
Sorry.
Crazy.
Oh, shoot. You know what it is, though. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, iHeartRadio. Like, comment, subscribe. Y'all better start commenting
Thank
and
you to our guests.
commenting. We would love everyone's ideas. You want to hear something that's talked about, we'll talk about it. I don't care. As long as it deals with hoops, we'll speak on it.
Like, comment, subscribe. You heard him.
Absolutely.
You heard him.
But
All platforms. Thank you, Myles, for joining
Sure.
us tonight.
yes, sir.
Thanks for having me, fellas, man. It's always love with y'all, bro.
Appreciate
Best
that.
wishes.
Indeed.
I know y'all gonna be successful. Keep going forward, man. It's the only way up.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. You as well. Appreciate you, man.
All right, peace.
Yep. Peace.